You're on mute. I can tell you said good morning back, but you are on mute.
How's the virtual workouts going, Tom?
They're kicking my butt.
I bet.
No, they're good. We were originally going to do it free until today because we were hoping that maybe tomorrow we could reopen, but that's not going to happen. So just sat down with the other guy that's doing it with me, and we're going to do free till Friday, but after that we got to start making some kind of money. So
yeah. Well, that's good.
Good thing I got 2 closings happening.
Oh yeah.
Your first 2, right?
My first 2, yep.
Yay.
Morning, Tiffany.
Good morning. There we go. Now I got it to work. How are you guys?
Good.
Good.
Hi, Cher. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning.
Jeff, I came across a very funny video on my phone yesterday about you and Mike and Ike's, and I'm gonna text it to you, and hopefully it'll brighten your day.
I don't want to see that.
It was when we had the Mike and Ike's were on a high level. I don't think we'll probably do Mike and Ike's anymore. They come out of the same thing. Everyone grabs them.
Yeah, no kidding.
Probably not.
Probably not.
That should have like biohazard yellow tape wrapped around that thing right now, right?
It shouldn't even be out. I asked my mom the other day to bring me a drink from the gas station. And I'm like, and I haven't been anywhere for like 3 weeks. I said, oh, can you go to the Holiday gas station? Because they have like the flavored pumps. And she goes, they don't have those out anymore. Where have you been? Like, okay. Do they have the pumps out where you are, Cher? Oh,
they do.
Yeah, she gave me kind of like do you know where you are right now?
They had them behind the counter with all the cups for a while, but then they moved all the pumps out again, but the cups and everything are still behind the counter.
Oh, okay.
So I go every morning. So. Yeah. They even pick up all the cups and straws and lids with tongs and hand them to you like they're infected or something. It's kind of
love it.
That's awesome. So it looks like we have several more joining us right now. Jessica, Marvin, Greg, good morning. We can go ahead and get started though. I'm sure we'll have a few more jump on, but today our guest speaker is Scott Hardey, and Scott, you came by request, I want you to know. So one of our
popular demand.
Back by popular demand. Exactly. So we're super excited to have him here with us today. So I'm sure you guys saw my post with some information, but if you don't know Scott or know some of his accomplishments, he's been in the business for 23 years. So he has been around for a while. He owned his own brokerage for over 15 years, and he has been part of the top 500 for many, many years, basically since its existence, since it came out. And this year he is going to close approximately 60 transactions, and 40 of those are coming directly from farming. So he is the farm king, and that equates to what, about 350,000 in gross commission, if I can share your commission.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, just from farming alone, it'll probably generate that much in commission just from farming.
Yeah, that is awesome. So without further ado, let's have Scott. I'm going to have him take over. Hopefully, I don't know if you need a screen share, but hopefully I've allowed you to do that if you need it. And then I will have Michelle Harris with Real Advantage Title is going to jump on towards the end of this call. They have some awesome farming tools that she's going to go over and show us how we can use their app to probably go over a lot of the stuff that he's going to recommend today. So Scott, take it away.
Awesome. Well, Terry, thank you for having me today. It's good to be with you guys. Good to see some different looking faces. I've seen the same 5 faces for the last 3 weeks, so it's nice to see different faces. I want to know how everybody's doing. First of all, like how long you've been in the business, and if you've closed any transactions, what source, like where did they come from? So I'll just start. Tom, tell me how long you've been in the business and how many you've closed and where that business came from.
Sure. Since end of January, I've been in the business, and I have my very first closing this Wednesday.
Awesome.
And then
Good job,
another one next Tuesday. So those came from SOI.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very good. I love that you had to look at your calendar to find out when the closing was going to happen. As you get more of them, you're going to be consulting your calendar to find out how many you're closing this week, which is going to be an awesome benchmark to get to. So that's awesome. Tiffany, how long have you been licensed and what kind of business? I know you're probably the freshest and newest, but where is your business kind of spurring and stirring from? Tell us about that.
So I passed my test January 31st, so beginning of February. And then I just have been, kind of started at a awkward time now, but that's okay. Just working the SOI and just signed my first buyer broker agreement over the weekend.
Awesome.
And so that's just kind of just spreading the word via Facebook and text messaging and talking to people across the street as they're walking past the neighborhood and just kind of trying to work it that way right now.
Very good. So you've been licensed for what, 2 months, right? Ish.
About that. Yeah. Yep.
And you have a buyer broker agreement. Where did that come from? SOI?
Oh yeah. Yeah. SOI. Yep.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. Share.
Yep.
Why don't you share with us how long you've been licensed, how many transactions you've closed, and where most of your business is coming from?
I've been licensed for about 18 months and I've closed 6 transactions.
Awesome.
And actually 4 of those came from 2 of them came from SOI and 4 came from door knocking.
Awesome.
So I've got lots of stuff in the pipeline, but people are kind of got a little bit of a cold feet, so they're waiting, but I'm just staying in touch with them and calling them and emailing them and texting them. I've dropped a couple pop bys. So I think things are going to be pretty busy come summer and fall, which will be awesome.
Good for you. So I want to pick your brain just for a second, because you mentioned that 4 of your 6 came from door knocking.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you door knock? Why did you pick those areas? Was it the same area? Was it different areas? And are you door knocking around your listings or around just closed? Or tell us about your strategy in picking where you're door knocking and all of that.
I'll be honest, a lot of my door knocking has been pretty random, Scott. Ironically, I was kind of afraid of kind of the nicer neighborhoods, and I door knocked with a lady named Mele Peppa. She's in our office, and she and I decided to door knock her neighborhood, which is a nicer South Jordan neighborhood. And we've done 2 $600,000 deals in that neighborhood. Just, we just randomly picked, she lives there, so that's why we picked it. But I was initially like, oh, this is too high end, we're never going to get deals out of it. And we got 2 that are, I think going to take off this summer. And then we've done 2 there already. Mostly I have to say they've just been kind of random, but from you and also Tori Tarver, we got advice from both of you to go back and re-door knock these same neighborhoods. And so that's what we've been doing. We've got 3 or 4 farms, if you want to call them that, where, every, probably 2 or 3 months we go and we'll just door knock again and show our smiling faces, and we've really been able to fill our pipeline with a lot of good potential quality leads and hopefully deals here in the future. And people actually are really friendly, and I would say even nicer the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th time around, when they kind of see that you're just a friendly face to come and introduce who you are and remind them what you do. And so, yeah. Awesome.
Thank you for sharing that. And I love the fact that it at first was random, but now you're going back to the same neighborhoods, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I want to make sure we spend just a second on this, because this is important. Your mindset when you started and you were like, I'm not going to door knock. I don't want to door knock, period, but I'm going to. And I'm definitely not going to door knock high end because they're not going to talk to me. Tell me about your mindset now after having secured 2 listings in a high-end South Jordan neighborhood where before you were like, they're never going to talk to me. That's a waste of time. Now, when you go and start door knocking and you get out of the car and you go to your first door, what's your mindset now?
Oh, I don't even care. The confidence there now to be able to say we've sold 2, nice houses in this neighborhood is a huge confidence builder. I have no stress or fear of it anymore. I'm not afraid of any neighborhood, any house, anybody that way. Like it adds a lot of confidence to be able to show that it doesn't matter whether it's a high-end listing or a $200,000 house. You can sell whatever's out there.
That's awesome. Your mindset went from fear and nervousness and anxiousness to confident and almost feeling like the most competent and prepared realtor to do them the best service because you've already done it twice, right?
Right. And had we not gone back to her neighborhood, we wouldn't have gotten our second listing and our other 2 that will probably, like I said, probably hit the market this summer. Like if we hadn't gone back, and I keep thinking that to myself, I've got to go back to these neighborhoods and just be the face of that neighborhood,
Yep. Awesome. Love that. Good job and good luck in the future. Good job.
Thank you. Thanks.
Jeffrey, tell us how long you've been licensed, how many deals you've closed, and where that business came from.
I've been licensed for 2 years, a little over 2 years. I've not been active except for 9 months. I've closed 5 deals. They've come from open houses, SOI, Google ad, sign call, and that's it.
Okay. So a myriad of different avenues that your business has come from.
Right.
Are you focusing your strategy and your marketing on one of those specific things, or do you have your hands in all those different pots and that's a purposeful thing that you're getting back?
I have my hands on all the pots. I'm doing it on purpose because they're all working out.
Awesome.
So I don't want to put all my money just in one basket. They're all working out very well.
Love it. Awesome. That's great. And I think that's good to know that we don't always have to put all of our eggs in one basket, that there's multiple avenues to go get business from.
Right.
And it's good to focus on at least 2 or 3. But you have to be competent and do the best job in those 2 or 3, right? Great job. Greg, I don't know that we've met, so it's nice to meet you. Tell us how long you've been licensed, how much business you've done, and where it's come from.
So I've been licensed for almost 6 months, actually. Been active. I'm not going to say I've been active until like this February. I tried another brokerage at first, didn't work out. Didn't get a lot of help there, and now I'm getting a world of help from KW. I love our South Valley office. I don't have any. I guess I've got 2 seller agreements, 2 buyer agreements coming that aren't quite there yet, but it's about a month away. I wish they just signed now, but they want to wait till they got everything ready in their homes. That's my roadblock with them. But but it is primarily really
awesome. Good job, Greg. Carmen, talk to us about your business, how long you've been licensed, how many you've closed, and where it's come from. I know you and Zula have kind of teamed up and you guys have been door knocking and maybe even doing some farming. So talk to us about where your business has been.
So we've been doing a lot of door knocking, and we've primarily been doing our business in Harriman, Bluffdale, and Draper. And right now we have 9 deals that we're working on currently. We have a closing on Friday for one of our listings. And let's see, I'm trying to think. I've had my license since January of 2018, so a little over 2 years.
Okay. And you have 9 either 9 under contract or 9 total between under contracts and on the markets and contract
listing.
signed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good job. So let me just tell you, and I appreciate you guys sharing, because I wanted to give everybody in the group, and I see there's a few others of you that have tuned in but have your videos blocked, so I'm going to assume that you just want to listen. So we're going to move on and just kind of share. So I think it's important that we understand that there's multiple avenues where you can get business from. As newer, lesser experienced agents, the #1 avenue that you probably can tap into to get business quickest is probably your SOI. As we've seen, most of you that are doing some business, that's probably the first place where your business came from. At the same time, as Jeffrey taught us, that it's good to have multiple avenues and multiple, arrows in your quiver, that you're working on multiple areas to get business from. But you've got to get yourself to the point where you are the expert in those areas. Have a great database, work your database, and you've got to do it well. And then anything else you're going to do, if you're going to call for sale by owners, you got to know your scripts, and you got to be on those calls, and you got to have a follow-up system. If you're going to contact expireds, you've got to know your scripts, and you've got to have a good follow-up system, whatever it's going to be. So for me, as Terry mentioned, I've been in the business for 23 years. When I first started in the business, I didn't have the support system of a Keller Williams office. And I just didn't get really any training. And I went to an experienced agent in my office, and I said, look, I want to make this a career. I want to make this a profession. I don't want to be one of those statistics that 2 years later, when I have to renew my license for the first time, I'm one of those 80% of agents that don't renew because I didn't do enough business. So what he told me, and he had been in the business for 25 years, and he says, you need to become a listing specialist if you're going to last in this business. Now, it doesn't mean that if you're representing buyers or focusing your business on buyers that you're not going to last in this business. I know a lot of agents, some in our office included, that focus their business on buyers, and they kill it, and they're knocking it out of the park, and their business is on fire. But that's the advice he gave me. And I said, well, how do I do that? And he said, the best thing to do, and by the way, just as some preface, I was from California. I'd been in Utah for a couple of months. I didn't have an SOI. I didn't have a database. So he said, pick a neighborhood and become the area specialist in that neighborhood and market to them on a consistent basis. And when you get a listing, sell it, promote the listing, promote that you sold it, and remarket again, and just do it on a consistent basis. And so that's what I did. I started in the neighborhood where I lived, which at that time was in West Valley. And I took about 400 houses, and I just created flyers. And I didn't have a budget because I hadn't even sold a house yet. And so I just did them as cheaply as I could. So the overriding message today is pick something that you can do to grow your business, and don't wait to make it perfect, just start. If you don't have a budget, you can still start. And I'm gonna tell you why, and we'll get into that in a minute, and how you can do that on a very inexpensive way. So instead of hiring a marketing company to create these beautiful, branded flyers that I would go personally and knock doors and drop flyers off at, I created them myself. I took them to Office Max and had them printed on, I didn't even pay for color copies because that was too expensive for me at the time. But I wanted to have some flair and pop of color. So I had them printed on blue paper. It was all black and white text, and it was on blue paper. So I took my blue flyers and I knocked doors and I dropped them off at every house. I did that every month. I didn't have any training. Nobody told me what to do or how to do it. The guy I asked, he said, just do it consistently. I didn't know what the frequency of consistency was. I just did it consistently. I chose once a month, and that's what I did. My first 2 years, I listed one house. And that was before I started really farming. And in the 2.5 years after that, I listed 18 houses, all directly due to farming. So really what it is a way to just get out and get your name out there, become the name that people recognize when they have a question. when they have a need, when they're up at night and husband and wife are talking, hey, I think it's time to sell, and your flyer happens to hit their door the next morning or the day before. That's why the consistency is so important, because you never know when those families are going to have those discussions about, hey, it's time to sell and move. If you're every 3 months or 1 month and then take 3 months off and then 2 months in a row and then 5 months off and then 3 months in a row and then don't hit them again for 9 months, you're going to miss lots of opportunities. So you have to create a system of consistency, because you want your name to be there and show up when they're having that conversation of, honey, it's time to move. Who do we call? So I'm going to share my screen. I've done some Zooms and I've done it before. Let me just, hopefully this will share correctly. Some of you who have been in my farming class, can you guys see my screen? All right. So I'm just going to go through some of this stuff. We've already gone through a lot of this. So if you're looking at this map, is everybody seeing what I'm seeing? You seeing that map? So this is from about 7 years of farming. You can see where I target my business. By the way, can you see my, I don't know if you can see my cursor. Can you see my cursor or no? Yeah. I live right here, right where my cursor is. So that's where I farm. I farm those neighborhoods. My longest commute to work every day is to the South Valley office, because most of my business is literally within a 3-minute drive of my house. I've farmed there now for about 13 years. We moved here from California in 2007. So we've been farming there. I say we, my wife works on my team, and let me just tell you, up in this area right here where I live, between signed listing contracts that will come and hit the market in the next couple of weeks, ones that are on the market and under contract, I just signed, in fact, just in this part of, hold on a second, just in this half of this farm, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have 7 signed listing contracts in the last 30 days in March, just in that half of that neighborhood. And it's all due to consistent farming. I don't even knock doors anymore, but I'm just consistent in the delivery of the flyers. And we'll talk about what that means and how you do that. So any questions about this? You're welcome to unmute and ask questions. You're welcome to message a comment or message so we can have a discussion about it. But anybody have any questions up to this point?
I've got a quick question, that comes from nerves and seeing, that you're like right around your house. How does that work with like people in like your ward or people that you see every day? Do you feel hesitant, or did you feel hesitant like throwing yourself at them and using your friendship or that type of acquaintance and crossing with your business?
That's a great question. I've never been one to leverage a friendship into business, right? Because I want to, I've sold tons of my friends' homes, but I don't approach it, hey, you need to hire me because I'm your friend. I have just focused on becoming the neighborhood expert and adding value to the neighborhood. And one way to do that is whenever the tax notices come out in August, I always deliver a flyer that says, hey, if you think that your tax valuation from the county is too high, let me know. I'm happy to provide you with some comparables that you can send to the county to justify a lower tax valuation. So I'm just adding value and not using, hey, we just went to dinner with you and your wife last week and you hired someone else to sell your house. I'm not having those conversations. I'm really just adding value. And the biggest way I add value is I deliver a message that adds value, market updates, pricing for the neighborhood. The market's gone up X%, interest rates are at this. And then when I get a listing, I do the very best job that I can to get that listing sold in the shortest amount of time and for the highest possible price. And then I brag about that without really bragging, but I'm sharing the message of the experience one of their neighbors had about what I was able to do for their family. And so that message just perpetuates. And now it's not about, hey, let's call Scott because he's our friend. It's about, let's call Scott because he can do the best job for us. And that's the difference between separating friendship and just providing value. And they're calling you because of the value that you can provide rather than some kind of friendship. Good question. Anybody else have any questions?
How often are you handing out those flyers?
For years and years and years, it was just once a month. And then we started to expand our farm outside of those 3 core neighborhoods. And we didn't get the results that we wanted. And so what we did is we took that marketing budget into what I called our new expanded farms, and we stopped expanding. And we thought, you know what, let's just do more business in the farms that we're doing business in. And so we now, for the last 1.5 to 2 years, we've been doing it twice a month. And we'll talk about the strategy of the frequency and how to start a farm and all of that in a little bit here. But we're doing it right now. We're not delivering flyers at all, at least not door to door. So, but I will tell you how we've adjusted to the market and pivoted. But to answer your question, in the normal market before all this craziness, we had ramped it up from 1 a month to 2 a month. So every other week they're getting a rebranding message from us twice a month.
Okay.
Another question, back in the beginning when you were, flyering and door knocking, when you would re-flyer an area, did you door knock every time you brought a flyer by, or did you just stick flyers on doors and not worry about knocking?
So I actually would print out a map and I would take it with me and I would door knock every door. If they weren't home, I left a flyer. If they were home, I would hand them the flyer and just have an introductory conversation. And as I think, Shara, as you mentioned, when you're now, door knocking the same neighborhoods again, and the conversations are more friendly and casual and comfortable, because they know you're not they know you're not there to do a hard sell with them, right? So I'm not there to do a hard sell to get them to sign a listing right then on the porch that day. I'm just there. So the conversation basically is this. Hey, I'm Scott Hardey from Keller Williams. I just wanted to make sure you had the latest update on the homes that are selling in your neighborhood and the prices that they're selling for, because they're selling for record prices. I'm just here as a resource for you. So if you have any questions about what your home could potentially be worth if you wanted to sell, or even if you wanted to refinance, you can have an idea of what your home value would be. That's it. Like, that's the conversation. That's the first one. I'm not even saying, hey, have you thought about selling? Or do you know of any of your neighbors to sell? That's next time I door knock, or the third time I door knock. Right. I don't want them to see me walk up to their porch and knock on their door and they see me through the window and not come to the door because the first time I approached them, it was an uncomfortable, hard sell. I don't want to ask them for business the first time. Will I miss business? Maybe because I didn't ask them and they know their neighbor had talked about selling their house, possibly. But for me, it's a long-term play. It's not, I don't want to just get her next door neighbor that one time. I want them to become an advocate for me, and I want them to trust me so that when they know of the next 5 neighbors, they're willing to share that with me the next times I'm door knocking. Okay. So back to the map. I would take the map, I door knock. If they answer, I hand them the flyer and have just a very comfortable conversation. If they're not there, I drop a flyer. And on my map, and I'm reprinting fresh maps every time, on my map, I'm marking who I actually spoke to and who answered the door. Because the next time I go out, I'm not knocking their door again, because to me, that's too frequent every other week. And plus, I want to get to all the other ones that didn't answer the door. And if you are just hitting the same people every time because they're the ones that are home every time you go, you're going to miss out. That takes time. And so you're missing out on the time you can spend knocking on the other doors. So I'm checking off the ones that I've talked to and going back the next time, knocking the doors of the ones that didn't get checked because they didn't answer.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes. Yes. Thanks.
So the goal is, depending on how many houses are in the farm, is to door knock every house and talk to everybody and do that consistently and keep doing that. I'm at a point in my business now where honestly, I just don't have time to go do that. And the branding is there. The best branding, by the way, that you can do even better than the flyers that you're delivering, and even the door approaches and talking with people and door knocking, the best branding you can do is a for sale sign in someone's yard followed by a sold sign, right? That's the best branding you can bring to your farm. You'll get more results from that than any other flyer and any other door knocking. And we'll get to how to market and how to start the farm in a few slides. Any other questions anybody has right now that they want to throw out there? All right, moving on. I don't think we need to, well, let's talk about this just real quick. So some of the benefits of farming. I'll be honest, farming is kind of an old school approach to doing real estate. Now everybody wants to jump on and Command is great because it's just technology driven. You can automate stuff. And that's a tool you definitely want to use and leverage for your business for sure. But everybody likes the technology, and this uses probably the least amount of technology because all you're doing is creating a marketing piece, printing, and then you're physically walking and knocking and dropping or mailing. So it doesn't necessarily require technology, and that's kind of what everybody's kind of gravitated to. So I don't know what the number is. I don't know what the statistic is between the number of agents that are actually physically door knocking or geographic farming, sorry. But my guess is it's probably like 1%. So you can get out there and capture a part of the market that is available to you because so few agents are doing this type of marketing approach. But let's get into what you see on my slide here. I know for me, when I started, as I mentioned, like a marketing budget I didn't have a marketing budget. Creating flyers as cheaply as possible was the most important thing. So let me just share this with you. As agents at Keller Williams South Valley, you can print up to 500 black and white copies a month for free. So if you choose a farm of 500 houses, you can print 500 black and white for free. If you wanted to do it twice a month and still do it for free, you can create a marketing piece and just do it where you create a piece, a marketing piece on 2 pieces on 1 sheet of paper. So in other words, you have 2 flyers on 1 piece. You print 250 copies and you cut them in half. And now you have 500. So you go market to your farm of 500. 2 weeks later, you print another 250, which turns into 500. And you have marketed to your farm for free at no cost, only some time invested in door knocking. How's that sound? Free, right? If you wanted to do color, you can print color at the office for 15 cents a copy, which by the way is way cheaper than you can get really anywhere else. I had to print a couple of things and get it laminated when all of this COVID-19 and coronavirus stuff was going on, some expectations for showing agents, and I wanted it laminated. So I created a piece in color, sent it to Office Max because it's down the street and needed it to be laminated. And they charged me 60 cents to print 1 color copy. At South Valley, you can print one for 15, not 50, 15 cents. And if you wanted to take the same approach and do color, but you wanted to cut the cost in half, so you print 2 pieces per page, you print 250, you cut them in half, and now you've created a marketing piece for 7.5 cents. That's all it took, 7.5 cents, and then you're out door knocking and dropping flyers, okay? When you get to the point where you're doing bigger print jobs and you want to have them printed outside of the office, put this in your phone in your contacts, or take a screenshot of this, or take a picture with your phone, because UCI is a great reference. We're looking at bullet point number 4, I think. UCI is the Utah Correctional Industries. It's at the point of the mountain. It's the prison. And they employ inmates that are learning the skill, so they are hireable with a skill when they're released. and they have a full-fledged professional print shop at the prison. I can get I don't have a copy, but it's basically a skinny, like actual template of a door hanger flyer that has like the cutout for the doorknob and the slit at the top. Those are expensive. I looked online, anywhere where you can send away and then they print them and mail them to you. The cheapest I could find was 45 cents, and that was at like bulk numbers. They print them for me for 12 cents a copy. So super cheap. So UCI is a great resource, and they can print your listing packets. They can print anything and everything you need. You want to print, you know, those Keller Williams black and red KW folders that you can put your paperwork in. You can just buy a bunch of those and put your own logo on it. They'll print those. So it's a full-fledged professional print location. So you can use them as a resource when you're doing more bulk and higher quantities. So let me tell you what we do to distribute our flyers. I've taken the approach to deliver them door to door. One, because that's how I started, delivering them rather than mailing them. And I'm also door knocking. So that's the advantage of door knocking and then dropping the flyer if they're not there. Postage is more expensive. And I think if there's something on their door, I know that when they pick it up from their door, that it's going right to the garbage 99% of the time. I get that. But from the front door to the kitchen trash, that could take them 10 to 30 seconds by the time they get there, and maybe they're reading it as they're walking to the trash can. I know it's going there. I know that's the final destination of my marketing piece that I left on their door. That's okay. But if they're like me and I get my mail, I'm usually near the counter in the kitchen or the kitchen table near the trash can, sorting through bills and junk mail, and it's 2 seconds. Do I need to keep it or do I trash it? And so I think I'm getting more bang for the buck in terms of how much time I get on my flyer by having it on the door while they're reading it, walking to the trash, then next to the trash, just going like this with all the junk, right? Plus it's cheaper. So when you get to the point where you want to leverage your time and have someone deliver them for you, I just hire kids in my neighborhood. All of my kids, I have 4 kids. My oldest is 20. When he was probably 11 or 12, he started passing out flyers for me. All my kids have done this, and my 2 youngest are still doing it. Because we do about 2,200 houses every single month, we have about 16 kids that pass out flyers for us every month. We send them out 2 at a time in pairs. We don't want any kids going by themselves just for safety reasons. And we pay each kid 10 cents a house. So we assign them a route of about 250 houses, and they go together, and each kid gets 10 cents. So the cost for us is 20 cents to have it delivered, because there's 2 kids passing out flyers. We're paying them 10 cents a house, and then 12 cents for the flyer. So we're paying 32 cents to have the flyer delivered to the house, versus 1 postage stamp is 52 cents, and then the cost to print. So we're doing it for about half the cost of mailing, and I believe in a more effective way, just because of the amount of time we think our flyer is getting in front of somebody versus junk mail. That was a lot. Questions on that?
Scott, I got a question for you. Sounds like when you were younger, you were a newspaper delivery boy, because well, you've got this structure. But how do you structure that? Like, I like the idea of hiring your kids, or in my case, grandkids. How did you go about setting up, organizing what areas they focus on? Did you have a system in place that you put together to do that so they weren't crossing each other's tracks, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So the first thing to answer that question is, when you start out farming, you don't want to really tackle a farm larger than about 500 houses. That's about as large of a farm as you want to go into starting out. And then once you start getting business in that neighborhood, then you can expand. Otherwise, it's going to take too much time and or money if you started out with 2,200 houses like I do now, you're going to spend more time and money investing into a larger area before you see any return. And over 3 or 4 months, you're going to say, I don't have time to go back out and hit everybody every month, and I'm out of money. So start with 500 houses. You can start as low as about anywhere between 250 and 500 is where you want to start. Our routes are around 250 houses. I print up a map, and I just kind of outline where about 200, I'm just counting houses and where 250 or 300 houses are. And then we just distribute maps to each pair of kids. And so they know where their areas are. My wife works on my team. She's a licensed agent. She doesn't actively sell, but she does all of my she's my transaction coordinator and back-end office support. We've created a system together. She texts all the moms when all of our flyers are ready. They come and pick them up on our front porch because they all kind of live out here near us. They all have a map every time the flyers go out as a reminder of where their location is, so they know what streets not to cross, what houses to do. And so that's kind of how we've kept it organized, is we have maps and we give the moms and the kids the maps. I'll be honest, there has been some times where some kids have crossed over and they'll call and text and say, hey, we're supposed to be doing our route today, and this whole street's already done because someone else did it the day before and they crossed boundaries. And so we look at the maps and see who probably was the culprit that crossed the boundary. And so we just call them up and reinforce the boundary. Sometimes I put them in my car and we've driven them out and just kind of drove all the streets in their route, so that they get familiar with what streets and what the houses look like and which ones not to go past. So there'll be a learning curve, but you just stay on it and you just reinforce and you just make sure that they understand where it's at. And if you take them in your car to show them where it's at, there's some houses, and you'll get this too. This kind of goes along with your question. We don't ever encourage our kids, and we tell them not to drop flyers on houses that say no soliciting. We're not knocking on doors, so we could probably get away with just leaving it on their door because we're not knocking and soliciting. But you can't believe the anger and the 4-letter words that come through text messages from people that do not want something on their door when they have a sign like that. So we've just decided we're not delivering flyers to anybody that has the no soliciting sign. And sometimes the kids will mess up and they'll forget. So, and I've gotten a couple of repeat frustrated and irate people in a neighborhood that are fed up with flyers on their door. And so I'll take the kids in my car and drive them to that house and talk to them about the house, and we'll point out features of the house, and just so that they mentally can remember when they get to that house, that is not a house that they deliver a flyer to. So you'll experience some of that as well. But even as nasty as some of the messages can be with people that aren't happy with a piece of paper on their door, again, we're just trying to provide service and add value. And so we just reply with an apology. In fact, somebody who this had happened to just very recently, they had a no soliciting sign, and the husband traveled for work and the wife was home. He would be gone for weeks at a time, and sometimes she would as well. They were frustrated that when they would get home from being gone for 2 weeks, there was 1 or 2 flyers on their door, which could indicate to someone potentially casing the neighborhood that nobody's home because that flyer's been on the house for 7 days, right? So they were worried about that, got some nasty messages from them. And just 2 weeks ago, they called me and said, hey, we apologize for all the messages. We're going to sell our house. We know you're the best guy to do it. So if you're interested, we'd like to work with you. So even despite all of that, the branding was reinforced, not through the flyers, but just them seeing signs in the neighborhood and me producing results and getting them sold. And so again, that speaks more than even the marketing does. So Greg, sorry, I went kind of on a tangent there. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Now, another one that adds to that would be, starting out, would you suggest us doing it on our own though, right? So if people are home, I know we can't right now because of the situation we're in, but would you suggest us going out so we can actually meet some of those people we may not have met?
Yeah, I would suggest you go out and you are door knocking and delivering flyers on your own until you get a presence and until you list at least 2 houses in that neighborhood. Until you have listed 2 houses and got them sold, you need to be out having FaceTime and having a presence in the neighborhood. Every for sale by owner in that neighborhood, you call on and you go and visit. Every expired listing in your neighborhood, you call on and you go visit. Every open house by another agent, you go to and you walk through that open house. It gets you more familiar with floor plans, layouts, the quality and upgrades and updates of what's expected in that neighborhood and where they're priced at. It gives you more knowledge of the neighborhood. So you need to be involved in everything that goes on. One of the things too is that if there is a neighborhood Facebook page, you can ask people as you're door knocking, so you can join the page. You can be a part of conversations that are going on. If they announce, hey, we're doing a kid bike ride around the neighborhood on July 4th, you know what? Post something and say, hey, we'd love to, or just be there to hand out, American flags or bottles of water or candy. Find out what's going on and be a presence. If there is no neighborhood page, you could try to start a neighborhood page and you can get people to join as you're door knocking and let them know, hey, we're starting a neighborhood page to keep people updated on what's going on in the neighborhood. If you have something that you're getting rid of, maybe a neighbor wants it or you want to sell it or you don't want to take it to DI, you can post it on the page. So you can add value to the neighborhood by doing things like that as well.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we move on? I'm trying to keep track of time here. So we don't have a lot of time left. This is one of the most important things. And if we have to end with this, we will, but we want to spend probably the next bit of time on this. I see Tiffany taking a picture. That's a great idea. If we were in person, this was in the training room, take a picture with your phone or screenshot this somehow, because this is one of the most important ways. This is how you find your farm. So to determine where your farm is, you just have to start with a neighborhood. There's no science or magic to that. You just figure out, hey, here's where I want to farm. And then you have to see if it's a good place to farm. I chose my neighborhood just because I figured I would have more of an influence with people because I would know them. They would be my neighbors. Our kids would play on the same soccer teams and basketball teams. And so I would have influence in the neighborhood. And so that's where I started. And we've just kind of grown out from that neighborhood, but still close by. So just figure out where you want to farm. A couple of guiding principles that you could use is to figure out what neighborhoods are most likely to give the most business. In other words, in the course of 12 months, from January 1 to December 31st, what price point of neighborhood would have the highest turnover in a course of a year? And as Cher pointed out, maybe I don't want to do high-end South Jordan stuff. That could be intimidating. And she found out she's finding success there. My approach would be find an entry-level, first-time neighborhood to start out your farming. That may not work for everybody across the board. Cher has found success in going into a high-end, probably $550,000 to $800,000 neighborhood. I'm guessing, Cher, something like that, probably. And that's fantastic. There's going to be probably in that neighborhood, let's just say there's 200 houses in the neighborhood where Cher is farming. There's probably going to be fewer homes in terms of the number of homes that sell in those 200 homes than a neighborhood that is 300,000. There's probably going to be more homes that sell and turn over in the course of a year. The lower the price point, generally, the higher the turnover, because the homes are smaller and the families outgrow them faster and they're ready to move on, right? So here's what you're looking for. Once you figure out, okay, I want to farm here, now you have to determine, is that neighborhood that you've already predetermined, is that a good, viable farm? And so to determine that, you have to divide the number of homes that have sold in the last 365 days by the number of homes that are in the farm. So the way you do that is, and you can just do it very quickly and simply, just go to Google Maps and put in an address or just zoom into where you know that neighborhood is. Find, the coordinates. Here in Utah, everything's kind of quadratic, so just find that block. zoom in and just count all the rooftops that you see on Google Maps. You can contact your title company and you can say, hey, can you send me a list? And you'll get a list, and it could be later that day, might be in a couple of days, depending on how busy they are. I can do it and be done in 10 minutes. And so I don't want to wait for that. So Google Maps, count the rooftops. Let's just say, to make the numbers easy, there's 500 houses in that farm, okay? You want to find a neighborhood that has at least an 8% turnover. So what that means is, of the 500 homes in that neighborhood, 8% of those homes have to sell every year, or it's not going to be worth your time. So 8% of 500 is 40 houses. So all you're doing is going into the MLS, you're clicking on sold status, then you're doing a map search and outlining that same neighborhood that you just identified in Google Maps, and you're doing 365 days back of sold homes, and the MLS will give you the results of how many homes sold in that neighborhood. And if it's 38 houses, I think that's probably close enough. If it's 19 houses, you have like a 3 to 4% turnover, and 19 homes out of 500 is just not enough to make that a sustainable farm. Because of the 19, you probably will see that 15 of them were sold by a bunch of different agents, and 4 of them were sold by 2 agents. There just needs to be more business available, because everybody here in Utah seems to know somebody who has a real estate license. So there has to be more turnover. So you're looking for a neighborhood that has at least an 8% turnover. I'm going to pause here and see if anybody has any questions on how to find the neighborhood or find the number or do the math. Everybody good? All right. So now to the next one. So we're down to the last bullet point where it says determine the market share. You already have your MLS search that would have showed you how many homes in that neighborhood sold in the last 365 days. Now keep that search open. You're going to select all of them, and then you're going to hit agent full report. So now you're just looking at a full report of the MLS listing of all of the solds. And let's just say it hit our 8%, so it's 40 listings. You're going to scroll through all 40 of them. You scroll down to the bottom of each MLS page, and you're going to write down the name or type it in a spreadsheet if you want, the name of the listing agent. We don't care about the company, and we don't care about the buyer agent, because it'll have all of that information. We just want the listing agent. Write or type his name down or her name down. Scroll to the next one. Find out that listing agent. Write their name down. Let's say listing number 3 is the same as number 1. I'm putting a hash mark, a tally mark next to their name. And I'm doing that for all 40 listings. And at the end of all 40, I'm looking down my list of all the agents that I wrote down or typed to find out, does any other agent have a presence in this farm? And if any agent has more than a 10 to 15% market share, in other words, out of 40 sales, if somebody has sold 4 to 6 houses, one single agent sold 4 to 6 houses out of 40, they're doing something on purpose in that neighborhood and already probably farming, right? So it's probably better to move on and find another farm that doesn't have someone already working the neighborhood and that already has a presence and already has a brand name recognition in the neighborhood. Now, you can fudge those numbers by a couple percent if you want to, but those are just kind of guiding principles that I've kind of done my strategy by, and then I've learned from some other people in the business. So those are kind of the numbers you want to stick to. 10 to 15% doesn't sound like a big market share. But let me just share with you, as I mentioned, it seems like everybody in the business or everybody in Utah knows someone with a real estate license. So if they're not calling you as the neighborhood specialist, they're calling someone that they know, or they're not calling you because they know someone who they're related to or who is their best friend. So most of the homes you're going to see out of 40, it's probably going to be like 35 of them were sold by 35 separate agents, because everybody knows somebody, right? And there's going to be 5 that were sold by maybe 2 or 3 agents, where 2 or 3 of them sold 2. unless somebody is doing a specific marketing campaign and already farming there. Okay. So it might be the farm you want. My farms, of the entire city of West Jordan, I only farm really 3 neighborhoods in West Jordan, 2,200 houses out of 130,000 population in the city of West Jordan. I farm 2,200 houses. And in the entire city, I list and sell more homes than any other agent in the state. And I only market to 2,200 houses. And I only market to 3 neighborhoods in the entire geographic city of West Jordan. So it shows you that there's a ton of business available. There's a ton of neighborhoods available. And I only have probably anywhere between a 15 and 22% market share, depending on the neighborhood and depending on the year of how many homes are moving. So as much as I do, you know, I'm the #1 top selling agent in West Jordan, but I only have about a 20% market share. So if you can get a 20% market share of 500 houses, man, that's 100 houses. That's a ton, right? So if you guys have questions, that was a lot of math and a lot of.
I have a question, Scott. It's Lisa.
Yeah.
I know last year I think you were experimenting with doing some townhouse projects, marketing to them, and I was just wondering how that went and what you're doing on that now.
Great question. So we've never done townhomes or condos because typically their HOA rules don't allow door knocking or soliciting or dropping flyers. So we've always just door knocked and dropped flyers. So we've always stayed away from that. But when I looked last year to see how many homes are moving in townhome communities and in condo communities, that was the sector of the market in West Jordan that was moving more homes than anywhere else, even in the farms that I was farming. So we started a mailing campaign and we mail twice a month. And in the last probably about 14 months, we've been doing this. I just took my 4th listing in those new townhome communities. So, you know, you might think, well, you should have 20. Farming is a process where you have to, you know, work the ground and you have to plant the seed and you have to water it and you have to nurture it and you have to care for it. And then it grows and then you harvest it, right? So it's not an immediate process, but to have our 4th listing without any face-to-face contact, just from mailing, I'm really happy about that because I know that we will continue to gain more market share in those townhome communities. So yeah, we are seeing success and all we're doing is mailing every other week to those communities. Great question. Anybody else have questions?
Yes, Scott, you touched on the fact that you're not dropping off door hangers right now. How did you pivot in this market?
So we've increased our Facebook presence. I've been growing my business Facebook page audience over the last few years. We're at over 2,000 Facebook followers on our business page. And my business page is Scott Hardey, the West Jordan Realtor. And probably 80% of the followers on that page are West Jordan residents and mostly out where I farm. So we've increased our presence on Facebook. And then we are going to actually start mailing to these people. We don't want to not have a presence. We want to, continue to have a branding presence. So although it's going to cost us more money and probably be less efficient, that's better than cutting it off altogether until we can send our kids back out. So that's how we've adjusted and pivoted by increasing our Facebook social media presence and increasing our budget in paying for ads on all of our listings. The listing I just listed last week, we paid $150 to promote our listing the week it hit the market, and we had 39,000 impressions in 5 days. It resulted in 4 offers on a $600,000 listing, and it sold in 2 days. And so people are seeing that. People in West Jordan are still seeing us list homes, sell homes. And so we've increased our Facebook marketing budget and our social media presence. and then we'll start sending stuff out via mail rather than door knocking and door dropping. Great question.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? All right. So here's the last thing that we'll start with, because I know Michelle needs a minute. In fact, just take a screenshot of this, because you're going to want to keep this. This is how you start. Terry, if you can chime in, can we go like 5 minutes over? Is everybody willing to just hang on to kind of get an idea of how to get this started?
I'm good going a few minutes over if everybody else is.
All right. Michelle, are you good to hang out for 5 minutes?
Yep, I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. So this is the strategy. And obviously right now it's going to be a little bit different because you don't want to start door knocking tomorrow. You're going to have to kind of put this. The nice thing about right now is you can be spending time putting together your system so that as soon as you can go out and start door knocking. I mean, I guess you could door knock, but I think somebody came to my door the other day and was like right at the door. And I'm just thinking like, why?
We've been told, Scott, that we are not allowed to do that right now.
Yeah, so I would not do that.
I would not do it.
So the nice thing is you're getting this information. You don't have to start tomorrow. So you can spend the next weeks putting together your system, putting together your first, month worth of marketing materials. So the way you start, as soon as you're able to go out and start door knocking, you start with what we call an 8x8. An 8x8 campaign is 8 marketing pieces over 8 weeks. So one piece every week for 8 weeks. Does that make sense? So you're gonna create a campaign where once a week for 8 weeks, you're dropping or knocking every single door every week for 8 weeks. So that's different than once a month or every other week, right? Because what you want to do is you want to make a splash. You want to get your information out, especially right now. Let's just say in 30 days, you can start this, right? Our market and society and the world is at a point where in 30 days, we can go back out. Let's just say we're there. We're still in springtime, like hot market, right? You don't want to start getting traction in September or December. So you start with an 8x8. That's a Gary Keller red book. The MREA 8x8 campaign is a Gary Keller strategy. So one piece every week for 8 weeks in a row. You door knock, you drop your flyers, and then you back that down after your 8 weeks. So on week 9, you start either paring that back to once a month or every other week, twice a month, whatever your strategy is going to be. I did once a month for 10 years. And then the last year and a half or 2 years, we've done every other week. And we've seen our business increase and our presence in the farm increase. So I would encourage you to go every other week rather than once a month. But that's how you start. Circle farming is a great idea, along with, as we mentioned, every for sale by owner that goes up in your farm, every expired that goes up in your farm, go visit every other agent's open house that's in your farm. And circle farming, Terry, do they still have access to
Cole?
Yes.
Cole Realty? Yes, they do.
Okay. So Terry can get you access to phone numbers, maybe even email addresses, where if you gave Terry an address in your farm, she can pull up 50 or 100 or 250 or 500 names and phone numbers and some email addresses around that address in your farm. So you can even call people. You can put them on an email campaign. So talk to Terry. She can get you more details on how to leverage the Cole report for your farming. When you create your marketing pieces, you want to create things of value, but you also want to be able to kind of brag about what you've done. If you haven't listed something in your farm, but an agent in our office has, you can use that success in your marketing, because Rich Summers, our principal broker, is the broker that ultimately represented that seller, and the agent was the sub-agent to our principal broker. So every listing is really represented by Rich, our principal broker, in the office. So you can say, hey, Keller Williams, South Valley, sold this house in 2 days for more than list price. If you'd like to have a similar result, call me. We'd love to, update you on market values and our marketing strategy. So you can use an office listing to put into your marketing campaign as well. I'm just going to scroll through a couple of things here. This is just an image of how we're leveraging Facebook. with targeted ads in West Jordan for our listings. And you can see, here, this is several months ago, but we had 28,000 impressions and 6,600 people clicked through our photos for a listing that just hit the market before it was even on the MLS. So we're having a presence on Facebook. This is just an example of some marketing things. Take a picture or a screenshot if you want to look at these to see kind of what we're doing. We're just bragging about what we did without, being very braggadocious, if that's a word. But we want people in the neighborhood to know, look, Scott sold it. They got more than they were asking, and they had 4 offers. So we're just letting them know kind of what's going on. Another way, we sold all these within a week, and sold by Scott. I mean, that's a brand that they'll just sold by Scott in just a number of days and for the price. And the reason the price is on there so that they can get an idea of what the market value for similar homes that they recognize in their neighborhood, what those home values are in their neighborhood. This is one that people love, just a market update on, what homes in their neighborhood have sold, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, if the basement's done, what's the square footage, and what they sold for. You can't advertise anybody's active listing. You can see there is an active one on there. That was my active listing. And another similar one. This is what we're doing now, our door hanger flyers. And you can see, again, the market update with prices and square footage. And you can see the coloring is the same. The marketing is the same. I use the same picture, the same logo, the same coloring. So when they see it, they know it's mine. You're just reinforcing. These are, when Lisa asked what we're doing for our townhomes that we mail to, this will be what we send also to our farming until we can go back out and door drop again. So it's just a postcard that we've created. And that's it. So thanks for hanging in a few more minutes, a couple of minutes for some questions, and then we're going to turn it over to Michelle. So who has questions that didn't get answered today that you need answers to, so that you can, if you see value in geographic farming, that you can have the answers you need to go start?
Scott, I wrote down a question. On your Facebook ads, are you doing that directly through Facebook, or are you guys using Command?
So we have not integrated Command yet. I've talked with Eden. We're setting up a time to get better trained on that. Okay. So that we can integrate all of our Facebook stuff into Command, because that's going to be more effective and more efficient with our prospecting and our database and all of that. So we are going to move that into Command. We just need to get better trained on it so that we can do that more effectively.
Okay.
Okay, and then I had a question. You said you're advertising the week before it goes live on the market. So what are you doing with the new rules that have come out surrounding that?
So what we do is we will typically on a Monday or Tuesday, I will take my own pictures so I can post them on social media, because usually our photographers are taking pictures on Tuesday or Wednesday. We usually put our listings on the MLS on Thursday. So as soon as I post on social media, we put a sign in the yard, and then to comply, then within 24 hours, you have to post it on the MLS. So then the following business day, we'll post it on the MLS as active, and then immediately change it to off-market status, because our sellers are not ready for showings. We don't have the professional photos yet. Our 3D tour is not done. They're still, getting ready for photos and doing all the recommendations from our home stager. So they're not ready for showings. So we change it to off-market, and then once we get the professional photos and the 3D tour, then we activate it. We change the status back to active on Thursday, and then it's active on Thursday. So we are in compliance where we're beginning our advertising, and within 24 hours, we activate it. And then as per the new policy, we change it to off market, and then change it back to active once the seller's ready for showings. So
that's all within a week time period. Is that what you're saying?
Usually from a Monday to Thursday. And then an open house on Saturday. And now we're just leveraging virtual open houses. I've done 3 of those, and two listings have received offers from 2 different buyers as a direct result of watching my Facebook Live virtual open house tour, where they saw it on social media as a result of the ad that I paid for on Monday. They tuned into the open house live on Saturday, called their agent because they saw the virtual walkthrough, and then set up a showing for Saturday afternoon, got an offer Saturday night. both cases.
That's fantastic.
Anybody else have questions?
This might be a question for Terry and you actually, but I mean, you know, the situation we're in right now, we're not going to go door to door knocking. We know that, and it'd be dumb to do that. But should we at least still go around and not door knock, but hang flyers on their doorknob, or is that kind of bad thing to do right now?
So if I'm answering that question, I wouldn't even do that. People are just going to be weirded out by, look, you may be asymptomatic, and if you're handling the flyer, and if you do have the virus and you've sneezed or touched your face or wiped your eyes, and it's on the flyer and they're just weirded out by that.
Yep.
Okay. So I would not. That's just me.
Yeah, I would agree with you too, Scott, on that. Do you guys have any other questions for Scott? Okay, I'm going to unmute you all at the same time so we can give him a loud round of applause.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott.
Yay, thank
really
you.
good.
Thank you.
Very
Welcome,
good.
guys. Good luck. If you have any questions along the way, feel free to just email, call, text. I probably won't see you in the office very much, at least not in the near future, but reach out. I'm happy to help.
Honestly,
Thank
Scott,
you.
thank you so much for doing this.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. If you're not inspired to go out and start a farm today, I don't know what else would inspire you to do that, but I really appreciate you taking the time today and sharing that with us.
You bet.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Scott.
Okay, you guys, if you can stay on for a minute, I'm going to remute you. Okay, so I do have Michelle Harris on here from Real Advantage Title. And so I know he talked about getting some addresses and things like that. They have some very cool tools that are going to help us in the farming. So if you can just give her a few more minutes, she's going to share with us what those tools are and how they can help us get going on these farms. So Michelle, take it away.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing really good. I know that it says Sky High BNI chapter, but on my name thing. But again, my name's Michelle Harris. If I haven't met you guys, I look forward to meeting you soon. So just real quick, I know that we're over. I don't want to take a whole bunch of your time. But we have it's an app, but I find that it works a lot better on a desktop or on your laptop in order to pull your own farms. If you don't want to do that and you want to send me an address, I'm so happy to do that. I do it for a lot of large teams when they get listings. Some of them want 30, some of them want 100. Anyways, so are you sharing your screen with me, Terry, and I can kind of show you guys?
You need to share your screen.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, so
Okay,
just hit the green share screen button.
Okay. Hang on here. Where did it go? Sorry, hang on, guys. Here we are.
Okay, we can see it.
Okay. All right, so what you'll do is you can go to titleadvantage.com and you can create an account. When you create that account, you're going to create a login and a password. And then when you get in there, you're going to want to choose me as your marketing rep. Once you do that, it automatically sends me an email and I can put credits on your account. The credits don't cost you anything. This does not cost you anything, but by law, we have to monitor the credits for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. But if you choose me as your marketing rep, I'll get that email and have them load the credits on your account. But I just wanted to show you really quick on this farm. So once you get all logged in and you get credits, you can create a walking farm. And when you do that, you would put in your address here. let's see, let me get an address for you. Got one right here. So you just put in your address. So like if you're wanting to do your own neighborhood, you can just put in your own address, and you can just really kind of play around with it. Let's see, so you can zoom in there. I'm not quite sure how to do this with my Apple because I'm not a very good Apple person, but sorry. So usually you can scroll in. I don't know how to do that on this Apple. If anyone has an Apple and can help me, that would help.
Sometimes maybe if you hit the control button and then while doing that, the plus sign.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Hey, Michelle, in your upper left-hand corner, there's a green dot. Click on that green dot to maximize your screen.
What's that, Jeff?
In the upper left-hand corner, you have a green circle. Click on that. All the way up, all the way to top. Keep going, there you go. And then that maximizes your screen, and then if you should see the plus in the lower, see the lower right-hand corner, you got a plus there?
Oh, okay, I see. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Really zooming in here. I just want to kind of show you how you can create your own farm here real quick. Okay, that's better so we can kind of see. So depending on how many houses or, you know, what kind of farm you're wanting to create, all you do is go up here and hit draw line. And I can go and do say, we'll just go over here. It's really pretty cool. As you can see, I can't draw a very straight line. Okay, and then you can get count. I'm going to create my farm. It's going to tell me how many is in there. Oh, geez. They just updated this site, so it kicked me out. It was giving me troubles this morning. There it is right here. I just barely redid this. Okay, it's still loading here. Anyway, there's a lot of different ways you can, while this is loading, that you can get an Excel spreadsheet, you can get labels, and it automatically loads that for you. It gives you all the names and addresses. We're gonna go back here to one I've already done. Let's do this one. Hopefully it'll load for us. Sorry, they redid this site and it's kind of being funny today. Usually it works really good. So you can view any kind of list. Gosh, okay. So yeah, like this property that I did for an agent last week, happens to be in Vineyard, Utah, but it gives you all the information for each house in your farm. And then if you go back, I want to show you the labels, but it's having a hard time loading. You can view the whole map of the farm, excuse me, that they wanted you, that you chose. And then, oh, here we are. Just Oh, it's still loading. So when you hit export, this is an Excel spreadsheet of the whole entire farm. And then down here, these are Avery labels. And when you buy Avery labels, they say 5160 and 8160 on them. And when you click on that, it's not loading. I apologize. They just, like I said, just redid the site, but you can print all of the labels on the Avery 5160. You'll have your Excel spreadsheet, all this. The other thing that it does give you too is it does give you the turnover rate and all that good stuff. It usually loads it right here. I'm sorry, it's not loading, so I can't show you.
That's cool. So it'll tell you how many houses are in there and the turnover rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. Yeah, and you guys can just play around with it, and I'm happy to even do a Zoom with you and get you set up on it. For some reason, these farms are just not loading, so I apologize, I can't show you. But yeah, there's a farm 5 line it, so you can do it as a PDF. There's all kinds of good stuff you can do in here, and this is all free to you guys. Like I said, once you get all signed in and stuff, choose me as the marketing rep, and then I can see that, and then it actually sends me an email every time you're creating a farm. So if you need some help or anything like that, I'm just reach out to me, and I can definitely help with that. They also have like some calculators and stuff. And again, I can send you the link to the app, but I just feel like the app on the phone does not work as good as on your desktop or your laptop. But you can get rates here, like if you're trying to do a net sheet for one of your sellers or buyers, that's where this would be here, is net sheets. I'm also available to do net sheets. I do a lot of net sheets for agents when they're going on listing appointments and stuff too. I really wish I could show you this farm. I'm sorry that I can't, because it's being weird. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Michelle.
Yeah.
So I had to request to reset my password, and I followed the steps because I couldn't get logged into the website.
Okay.
And it says that it saved it, but I can't get logged in now on the app or on the website.
Okay. All right, let me, will you shoot me an email, Tom, and I'll send it to Alexis and our IT people, and they'll try to maybe do a hard reset for you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, perfect. Does anybody else have any questions? I wish that this would load so I could.
So once we go and sign up for it, then you load credits and then we can start doing this?
Yes, yep, okay. And it's all free to you.
Okay.
Yeah, and the labels, the Avery labels are really, really cool, because all you got to do is buy the labels and throw them in your printer, and it just prints all the labels out for your farm.
Yeah, this is way better than what I can do through Cole. All I can do is download an Excel spreadsheet, which obviously isn't going to calculate anything for you, and it does not make labels. So this is awesome.
I've got a question for you. We weren't able to see what the information is that it pulls up. Does it pull up property name, the name of the owners too, or just their address, the addresses of all the homes? What does it do?
Yeah, it'll have the name. Like, so if you view this farm list, so this particular agent listed a property in this neighborhood, and whenever he lists a property in any neighborhood, I send him a list of 30 to 40 people, and he sends some kind of marketing thing. I'm not quite sure what that is. So when I order the title report, I shoot them back 30 to 40 labels of homes, including the home that he listed. And so this one shows this property, 256 North, 750 East. The owner is Devon Oaks. Okay. And when you print out the labels, it has that. I was gonna maybe try to pull this up here that I sent out so you could see what the labels look like. Just trying to see. There was one. I'm working on 2 computers here. Send it to my Gmail. Through, but yeah, I send her an Excel spreadsheet and then the Avery labels on every listing she does. But you guys can do this for how many, you can just on that map highlight however many homes you want, and when it's working regular, it tells you exactly how many homes and what the turnover rate is. It's got the owner occupancy rate and the turnover rate on it. So let's see. Okay. So this is how it's emailed to you. Once I pulled it in the farm, the system automatically does this for you. So when you create the farm and then you just put those Avery labels in your printer and it prints all of them for you.
Nice.
And then it also creates an Excel spreadsheet for you. So you can keep track this way too of all the homes in your farm. So it's pretty cool. Do you guys have any questions?
Michelle, how long does it take from once I go in and sign up for me to be able to get my credits so that I can actually start using it?
Just a couple hours.
Oh, okay. So you can do it that same day. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and if you guys don't want to go do this yourself, I'm happy to do it for you.
Okay.
You just have to email me and let me know how many you want and the address and everything. But you guys are more than welcome to go in here and do this. And again, it's just titleadvantage.com.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions?
That's awesome. Thanks, Michelle. I'm happy you stayed on here. Thank you, everybody, for staying on a little bit longer, too. I think it was worth the extra time.
Sure.
Thanks a lot, Michelle.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you guys, I need to run. It is Rich's birthday. I don't know if you guys know that. We are actually going to run and do a little parade for him really quick. But I hope you guys got some good value from today. I think it was a really good training. So this is being recorded. So if you guys want a copy of it, we can definitely get you a copy of it as well. So thank you. Have a fantastic week. I am available to answer any questions. Text me, call me, email me. If we want to set up a one-to-one Zoom, happy to do that. I hope you guys have a fantastic week.
Thanks for setting that up, Terry.
Yes, of
you
course.
later.
Thank
See
you.
y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.